Actually, since your early days of when you did your first project in Stoke, has your property sort of strategy evolved? Because obviously your first one was a refurb project. Have you ever moved into any other areas of your business? I know you mentioned lettings. Have there been any other strategies that you've sort of worked on?
Yeah, definitely. So there's been the core strategies and peripheral strategies as well. And if anyone's followed me for a period of time, they'll hear me saying this a lot. And that's the only certainty in property is constant change. The market just evolves. It doesn't stand still, and you have to be ready to adapt. So just because you've got one thing working right now, it doesn't mean that's it. That's how it worked forever. If you think of some of the SA operators, we run an SA business as well, and that clearly suffered over the last few months as well. But we're still here. We've managed to kind of save it all. It just means we just made nowhere near as much money as we would have ordinarily. But at the end of the day, it's about survival, and then you continue to grow. So the strategies have evolved massively. As I said right at the beginning, I just learned so much about so many different things. So there's a lot of strategies I've done a couple of times just to experience them. And there's been our core strategies. So, for example, the core ones have been initially sourcing property, because when I started, that's kind of how it got me starting to get me a little bit of an income, selling deals on, earning a little bit of a fee. And then I started partnering, doing some single buy-to-lets, then some smaller HMOs because I wanted better cash flow, then onto the bigger, more professional HMOs. So typically now we spend £120,000 converting a house to a professional HMO, whereas before it was like £2,000, bit of cheap furniture and a fluffy pillow. So it's some of it's evolving of the same strategies, and some of it's transitioning into different ones. So I've also done commercial conversion, where taking commercial building, converting to residential. I'm building houses now. The development stuff excites me, and flipping I really enjoy. I love flipping because my dream would be two strategies: high income to keep and flipping. So you get a really good income from your rental portfolio, and you're buying and selling stuff, adding value. And because I like to see how you can take something like so for example, we're going to do a quick video shoot this afternoon at one of the projects where I bought it for 150,000. It was a real estate. It's nearly finished, and we're putting it up for 400,000. Now we spent a significant amount of money on it as well, but it's still a nice, profitable deal. So, I love that kind of stuff, not just because it kind of makes great money, it's completely different from what it was. We take a house that was built 100 years ago to something that's a beautiful modern home today. So I really enjoy and get excited by that. The problem is, over the last few years, the market just hasn't been right to do many of those deals, because everything's overpriced. People are paying too much for them, and the margins have been squeezed. So other stuff that I've done loads of lease options, delayed completions, planning gain, what else? I've got the SA business as well. So I don't do all of this on my own, by the way. I have a great team of people, about 18 staff that work with me. I have some partners as well. So some of you probably met Idas, who works with me. So he runs the service accommodation side of the business. So, I have great people around me to make it work. I'm a firm believer about the people around you make the biggest difference.
Did it take you a while to diversify? So for any newbies starting out, would you sort of recommend picking one strategy, going with it, and just putting it sort of like all your efforts into that until you get confident at it, and then diversifying? Or did you start diversifying your sort of property early on? So did you go into like HMOs and SAs quite early, or did you just think, right, refurbs for a while, and then I'll sort of slowly sort of trickle feed into other strategies?
I would highly recommend not copying what I did, because the fastest route to an unsuccessful career. And I think focus makes the biggest difference. You need to focus on one or two strategies. That's it. If you could spend 80% of your time on one core strategy and maybe 20% on another one, I think that would be the most I would suggest. I wouldn't suggest anything more than that. The more focused you are, the better results you're going to get. It's really as simple as that. And I talk about, you need to get to some mastery level in one particular area before you even consider doing something else. So, I would say you need to really focus on one strategy, and the way you pick that strategy is dependent on where you're located in the country, where we are in the economic cycle, how much money you have access to, how much money you may be able to raise. That's through mortgages, it could be bridging, it could be other people's money, how much time you have available to commit to the strategy, what your skills are you can bring to the business. So for example, someone might be an accountant with an accounting background, someone might be a salesperson with kind of personal sales skills, whatever it might be. All these things need to be put into the mix to consider the right strategy. The mistake I've made, and I see many people still make, they see somebody else doing a strategy, they see the great results, they don't see the years and years of struggle to get there, and they think that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
But you have to think, actually, is that going to be the right way for you? So I think once you can reflect on all the things that need to go into the pot, and think which method would be right for you, then that would be it. So for instance, if you're somebody that loves doing the analytics and the numbers and the analysis, the crunching, the research, and I'm saying to you, go and talk to the agent, this is how you're going to negotiate the deal of them, and this is your mind tricks to use with the agent, that skill is way outside the comfort zone of that person. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible for them to learn that, but I'm saying you're going against the grain.
So true.
Focus on the thing you're really good at, and either work with other people who have that skill, or use your skills that are going to be best utilized in a certain type of strategy.
I love that. It's a case of self-reflection and seeing, as you mentioned, before people jump into business. I think these are factors that everyone should consider. I mean, even I'm guilty of just jumping straight into it because I'm eager to sort of start. But as you mentioned, see what skills you're good at, see how these skills can be utilized, see what your weaknesses are, and also what you actually bring to the table in terms of your time, finances, and that's almost that self-assessment. Probably help drive the direction of which way you're going in with your property journey anyway. A quick